and welcome back to my channel. I have got so much to say at the start of this video. Number one, thank you to everyone that subscribes to my channel in the last couple of days. I've hit over 100 subscribers. It was so exciting refreshing my page and just seeing more and more people subscribe. So if you haven't subscribed, please do, because I have been smiling all weekend. I am absolutely over the moon with how this channel is growing, and it's great being able to hear from you all and read your comments and reply to as many as I can. So thank you so much. I checked my analytics and apparently 70% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. If you would like to keep up with me on Twitter, I am at YC Fantasy. I will leave my social media stuff in the description below. Let's have a look at how I did in Game Week 1. On the positive side with Game Week 1, I am above average. I scored 68 points in total and the average was 57. So I am very pleased. I think it's a solid start. There were a few surprises. Some people that I thought were going to score really highly and didn't. And then I had a bit of a issue on my bench, which I will get to last because I'm very frustrated with myself. But to start off, on a positive, Haaland, first game, 2 goals, incredible, such an amazing performance. He's already increased in price, so I think now he's 11.6 million, which is not surprising, and 500,000 people have transferred him in. I'm sure my entire Twitter feed was full of people that had Kane and didn't have Haaland and were absolutely kicking themselves. If that was you, I'm so sorry. I completely understand the frustration, it happens, but there are so many game weeks ahead of us. It'll be fine. And also, Kane is going to have an amazing week. Shocking that he did not score one of, I think it was 4 goals for Spurs, but he's just warming up. He might just be a slow burner this season, but there will be a game where Kane and Son will just not stop scoring between them. So hold on, have faith, you'll be fine. And then Haaland played 77 minutes, which is decent. I think 13 points. He's the 3rd highest point scorer so far out of all the other players. So I'm obviously keeping hold of Haaland, why wouldn't I? And he's got some really good fixtures coming up too. I'm very excited for the Forest game. I have a soft spot for Forest. So it will be tough to see them probably lose, but I'm really looking forward to that. 3 out of 4 games are home: Bournemouth, Newcastle, Crystal Palace. I think I'm feeling quite optimistic about the Crystal Palace game as well, because they didn't even score in Game Week 1. These are all really appealing fixtures for me. Probably keeping Haaland as my captain for the next couple of weeks. Maybe even consider a triple captain for the Forest home game. Not entirely sure. We'll see where we are at that point, because everything can change in the next couple of weeks. That is Haaland, and like many fantasy owners that have Haaland, feeling very pleased that I had him on my team this week. Shame that I didn't make him captain, but to be fair, Salah got me 24 points, so wouldn't have been a massive difference. But I think Haaland is one. I'll probably flip between Salah and Haaland each week, to be honest. Jesus, poor guy. Okay, everyone was expecting big things from him, and he did only score 2 points. He's already been heavily transferred out, but I think that's a mistake, and I've read so much about not having knee-jerk reactions to first game week. People need time, and Jesus is a good player, and I don't really understand why everyone is suddenly getting rid of him. I completely understand the frustration, and there is still really high ownership. It was hard in Game Week 1 to find a team that didn't have Jesus, so at least the disappointment is widespread, and we've got each other's backs for this one. He didn't get any goals, he didn't get any assists, but he still looks promising, and I am going to hold on to him because, again, the next couple of fixtures all look good. 3 of the next 4 fixtures are all home. I am sticking with Jesus, 99% sure I will be, and he's only 8 million, and I still think he's going to be great value for money. So hold tight. If you've still got him on your team, keep hold of him. That's my advice. And in 4 game weeks time, you may come back to me and say that was terrible advice, but I am no expert, so you shouldn't really listen to what I have to say, but it's just putting it out there. On to my midfielders. Bailey and Neto, I don't really have tons to say about them, if I'm honest. Neto potentially transferring out. Haven't really made my decision yet about transfers, so watch this space. But on to more interesting things. Martinelli, 8 points. I think he is another one, and this is, again, with Fantasy Premier League, you just have to have patience. He had some good runs into the box, and he did have chances. And I think he's going to be a really good attacking asset going into the season, so I'm holding on to Martinelli. I am a little bit annoyed that I didn't bring in Saka as well. The two do complement each other, but we're fine. We're going to power through again. And then Salah, my captain. I mean, Salah always performs, doesn't he? He is just, I love you, Salah. He was there with the goal, he got an assist. It's really frustrating Liverpool didn't keep a clean sheet, but we move on, it's fine. Cancelo, another one, he looks decent, we'll be holding on to him. Alexander-Arnold, I'm sorry, Robertson again, fine, whatever. Alexander-Arnold, frustrating again. We know that he's got so much potential. He's another one that's been heavily transferred out so far. And like I said, with Salah, it's annoying that Liverpool didn't keep a clean sheet. But we've still got so much of the season to go, guys. Let's slow it down, relax, it's fine. I've got big expectations and I can definitely see him improving. For their next fixture, I think they're playing Palace, yes. And Palace didn't even score in game week 1. So it's looking good for game week 2 for Liverpool. I can imagine them kind of smashing out some goals. And again, next 3 out of 4 fixtures, yeah, are at home. So that works really well. I do think Liverpool are going to find their stride. Like I said, surprised that they didn't keep a clean sheet, but it's fine. Teething problems, game week 2, onwards and upwards. And then Perisic, just fine. We scored a point, it's better than nothing. Then Edison, so this is where we come into the controversy of my team last week. I made a comment about wanting to bring in Ramsdale because I really liked him and I thought he was going to do well. Now he did do well, kept a clean sheet. I think Edison, Ramsdale, Mendy all kept clean sheets, so great goalie choices. However, I had, just before the deadline, I think it was 6:15, and I suddenly had a gut instinct that I needed to bring in Ramsdale. Now, by bringing in Ramsdale, it meant that I had too many Arsenal players. So what I decided to do was get rid of Zinchenko, who, to be fair, was on my bench, so the points would have meant nothing. But I bought in Dier from Spurs. He's on my bench. I then, at 6:20, thought I have to stick with Edison. I'm being an idiot, I shouldn't have made these last minute changes. Swapped them back over, brought Edison in, but I forgot to swap Dier for Zinchenko. So I have Dier, and then he scored 8 points. He scored a goal. He did fantastically, but he was on my bench. So I'm just making terrible decisions. I obviously have no gut instinct whatsoever because no matter what would have happened, I would have had quite a few points on my bench. So that's something else to think about. I may potentially, for the next game week, just swap over like Dier for Perisic or something. Not entirely sure. There's quite a lot to think about ahead of the next game week. And then the other criticism I have about my team is, and again, I said this in my last video, I didn't bring in Reece James, and obviously he did really well as well. So not making the best call so far, but we've done okay. We've got just under 70 points. But Reece James, again, is one that I'm going to think about bringing in for my defender. That is my team. That's game week 1 done. And game week 1 arguably is the hardest one to get right because we don't know how the teams are going to gel together, how everyone's playing, fitness levels. We've only been guessing so far. But let me know how your team did and whether you had a similar team to mine. That was another criticism. Everyone had very similar teams in game week 1, whereas I think now everyone's going to go their separate ways and kind of think, okay, what's working for me, what's not. As I said, I'm going to think very hard about who I put on my bench for the next game week. Think about my transfers. I will upload another video probably on Wednesday talking about what I think my team's shaping up to look like for game week 2. I hope you did really well in game week 1, and if you didn't, do not worry. There are so many game weeks ahead of us and a lot of things are just a fluke, aren't they? Haaland did really well this week, but in a couple of weeks time Kane will do well and Haaland won't do so well. So power through, you'll be fine. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and fingers crossed we can get up to 200 subscribers fairly quickly. Very exciting seeing the channel grow at such a speed. As I said, I'm planning to post another video on Wednesday outlining my thoughts ahead of game week 2, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it, and I will see you in the next video.